7:30 on a weekday evening, 2 officers at your door, no blue lights, nobody shouting, perfectly pleasant, and the first thing out of his mouth is 6 words that almost everybody in this country answers immediately. We've had a call about you. And you say, because you are a normal person, because you have done nothing, and because there is no version of you that shuts a door in a police officer's face, you say, oh, right, what about 4 words? Perfectly reasonable, perfectly polite. And in that moment you have started doing the one thing they actually came here for, which is talking because that sentence is not an accusation. Listen to it again. It is an invitation. There is nothing in it you are required to answer, no power in it, and no allegation you could actually respond to, even if you wanted to. So what that opening line tells you about the position he is in, whether a phone call can ever amount to grounds, and the answer there is more careful than the internet will tell you. The one line in the code of practice that protects you specifically for saying nothing, and then the sentence, word for word. I am Oliver Bennett. 15 years in police stations and courtrooms across England and Wales, which is the jurisdiction for all of this. Scotland runs differently, and I am not going to pretend otherwise. This is not legal advice, and I am not your solicitor. It is what the rules actually say in plain English, so that the first time you hear them is not on your own doorstep, with 2 officers looking at you. Start with what the sentence tells you about him, because it tells you a great deal. A man who has grounds states the grounds. A man with a power uses the power. Neither of those people opens with the existence of a telephone call. He is telling you what he has got, and in doing so he is telling you what he has not got, which is anything else. If there were more, the more is what you would be hearing. And here is the distinction almost nobody makes at a front door. A report is not evidence of anything. It is the reason he is standing there. Those are 2 entirely different things, and the whole encounter runs on you failing to separate them. Somebody rang. That is the entirety of what has occurred so far. A neighbour, an ex-partner, somebody who saw a car like yours, somebody who has made a mistake, or somebody who is lying. The call itself tells you nothing about which of those it is. And crucially, it tells the officer standing in front of you nothing either. He is not withholding information from you. In a great many of these visits, he genuinely does not know much more than you do. He has a job to attend, a line on a screen, and an instruction to go and have a word. That is why the conversation opens the way it does. Not because he has something and is being clever about it, but because he needs you to supply the content. Now, I want to be careful here because you will find people online telling you a report can never amount to grounds. And that is not true. And I'm not going to tell you something that falls apart the first time somebody checks it. The Code of Practice specifically lists reports from members of the public as a source of reasonable suspicion. So yes, and I want to be very clear about this because it is where a lot of confident nonsense lives. A report from a member of the public absolutely can form part of lawful grounds. Anybody telling you a call can never count is wrong, and you should be wary of the rest of what they tell you. But look very carefully at what it describes. A report describing a person who has been seen carrying such an article. A vehicle in which such an article has been seen. That is particular. Somebody saw a specific thing and can say what it was. That is an extremely long way from we've had a call about you. One of those gives an officer something objective to act on. The other is a sentence with no content in it at all. And the difference between them is the difference between a lawful search and one that falls apart afterwards. And grounds is not a mood, and it is not whatever the officer happens to feel about you while standing on your step. The Code of Practice sets out what it actually has to be made of, and it comes in 2 halves, both of which have to be there before anything else happens. There must be a genuine suspicion, actually, formed in his own mind, and there must be an objective basis for it in facts, information or intelligence both. A hunch with nothing under it is not grounds, and neither is a piece of information nobody has actually thought about. And the code is blunt about one category in particular. Reasonable suspicion can never be supported on the basis of personal factors, not a protected characteristic, not previous convictions, not generalizations or stereotypical images of who is likely to be involved in what. And now the paragraph I would want every adult in this country to know, because it goes directly to the thing that stops people staying qui